Good morning. I am going to call to order this adjourned meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee for Thursday, July 25th, 2019. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the vice chair of this committee. With me at the dais today are Council President Bender, Council Member Schrader, and Council Member Warsame. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. I do want to note that this committee's chair, Councilmember Johnson, and his lovely wife, Sarah, have given birth to a new baby, and we want to wish them congratulations and a very, very healthy and happy time. So we have 3 items on today's agenda, including the continuation of our public hearing on the proposed biennial budget charter amendment. But before we continue with our public hearing, we will dispense with the rest of our agenda. And so I move that we postpone items number 2 and 3 to our regularly scheduled meeting for August 7th. Is there any discussion on that item? Is that clear to everybody? It was a little challenging for me, but we're just going to have our public hearing and vote on this item, and then we will move the rest of our agenda to the August 7th meeting. And I do want to note that we have been joined by Councilmember Wright. So, seeing that there's no discussion on this motion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And that item carries. And so, I will move to item number 1, which is the continuation of a public hearing related to the biennial budget process charter amendment. We'll begin this hearing. We began this hearing yesterday and heard from several people, very poignant testimony, and we will now reopen the public hearing to see if there is any additional testimony. Is there anyone here to speak to this item today? We have 5 people who are here to speak. Wonderful. So I'm just going to ask that we please limit our comments to 2 minutes per person. We do have a timer, and also ask that you please state your name and address for the record. And so we'll start with the first speaker who has signed up, Ms. Samantha Stinson. Good morning.
Good morning, council
Welcome
members.
Back.
Thank you. So my name is Samantha Stinson. I reside at 2321 Pillsbury. I'm here wearing a few hats today as chair of the Minnesota Green Party and member of both the Met Council Equity Advisory Committee and our Ward 10 seat of RECAC, specifically on the point of the biennium budget, which I fully support, and this is why. Because it finally moves us towards implementing a participatory budgeting process that allows us to maximize our tax dollars. Our current budgeting structure, as we all know, is inequitable, and it doesn't provide for enough time to determine anything, nor does it support a set of lived or shared values. I also believe that it limits our ability to understand and evaluate the impact of our dollars as it relates to programming and initiatives, as well as reduces our ability to engage deeper with our city departments that are revenue generating, such as public works and reg services. And there's little to no opportunity for true community engagement either. And we can't continue to go down a path where we property tax our way out of situations. We have to start to explore their avenues, which starts with looking at how we're spending our money and evaluating those dollars. And it's not without precedent. We would be joining what I believe is a best practice of at least 15 other states with an annual session and biennial budget. 4 states have a biennial session and a budget, and 1 state that uses a hybrid model. And there's 55 cities, 5 counties, and several special districts that also participate in this type of budgeting. And it does save costs and makes better use of staff time, so they're not living in this perpetual budgeting season. And as a previous council policy aide to Councilmember Cunningham, I know firsthand what it's like to support a council member through that budgeting process. And it creates an environment where our staff is just, again, constantly in this state of budgeting markups and submissions. Council members feel rushed, and really there just isn't enough time to evaluate by the time the dollars hit to people that are getting those dollars, especially if there's different limitations or requirements that they have to meet to get the money. That is not always fleshed out when the dollars are granted. So it could be even Q3 when somebody receives the dollars. So by the end, budgeting season has already started again. So if they need more time, they're not going to get it. And there again, we just end up in this perpetual cycle. So I hope that you all support the biennial budget. It'll do our city well and our residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Priest-Stinson, for those comments. And thank you for all the service you do in so many other capacities. We appreciate your commitment to community. Our next speaker is Park Board Commissioner Londell French. Welcome.
Thank you, Vice President Jenkins. I'm just here as a representative of Minneapolis Park Board and let you guys know that we're in support of the biennial budget. My only big concerns, I talked to Councilmember Palmisano, was that we can have some ways to make adjustments, and that she let me know that is completely okay, and because there's things that come up between 2 years, but I think this process is the best way we can do it. We're not always running to try to figure out what needs to be done next. So 2 years is a good time frame to kind of do some really good planning and figure out how we want to run our city and our parks. So thank you. We really support this, and I want you guys to vote on this in support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next speaker is Jamar? My apologies.
It was kind of like Cher, I just put the one name down, so you know. Good morning, though. I'm in full support of the biennial budget. Wearing two hats here as a community servant and a community member, I think that what it does is, by having a yearly budget, it binds the hands of certain organizations, and it causes sometimes detriment to the community when you're not able and you're rushing to do or complete work because we're on some type of time frame. If you do it biennial, I think that it gives us time to see the results of the works that you're doing, good or bad, however you may evaluate it, but it gives you time to evaluate those works. And it's fair to the organization and the community. And if we're really concerned about the community and bettering the community, these organizations are important to those communities. And so having them do anything half blank is something that is not, it doesn't work for the community, and it doesn't work for organizations, because as she was saying too, I think I reiterated what she was saying, that if you're rushed, how can you produce any good results? How does it help? So I think that we all should be in full support of a biennial budget so that we all can easily weigh in when we think that something's not going right with the organization or something that is going right. It helps us. So it betters the city, and it keeps us, while you guys are fighting over the budget, keeps those organizations flowing. Because you're looking like, because y'all get to going fighting over the money, and we end up getting hurt over it. So I hope that you guys are in full support of it too.
Thank you, Jamar. And if you don't mind checking in with the clerk to just complete your full name and address for the record.
Sorry, I told you I got that share in my head. Jamar Nelson, I live at 4565 Upton Avenue North.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Mr. Al Flowers.
Thank you, Councilmember Jacob.
Good morning.
And you scared me when you hit that gavel while I was over there talking to what's on me. That's how you know how to get rid of me. But no, I'm here to say about support of a 2-year budget plan. And mine is even, this has given me the opportunity to talk about when we're doing things, when people are doing things in the community, and they shouldn't have to keep coming back year after year and being tested if the work they're doing is true. And I say that, and I'm speak on the 16-year-old that got killed in North Minneapolis, and a 30-year-old got killed over the weekend. And this is my opportunity to say something to help in some kind of way the people that's out there doing that work. But I'm particularly with this 16-year-old because I'm working with the family who's a young girl that got to take care of this funeral of her brother. A 16-year-old got a 19-year-old got to take care of a funeral of a 16-year-old because they got other issues that they dealing with, and they don't have anywhere to go. So this for me to speak on the budget, but I want to speak to the council and make sure that y'all know this is happening. I'm just going to keep saying it. We're dying. It's my community. We're dying, and people are trying to help, and then the red tape that they have to go through just to try to help is incredible. So I'm here to really just say about my young brother that's had hard times in life, but should he be dead? To the 16-year-old, should we give up on our kids if that's what we're doing? I don't want to be a part of it. And I hope the council really hear me. That these kids in trouble. They're in trouble. And we can do something if you let the people that can do the work do it. To quit playing politics with my community and watching this baby. If you was out there on the ground, like Mother's Love, Mad Dads, these organizations, but they can't stop this. They can't stop this by themselves. We need help, and the real help you need from the city council, the county, the state. So that's what I just want. I'm gonna make sure you know my people dying, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't care what nobody say, and I think y'all can help if we get the politics out the way. And I'm going to keep praying. Look up for the funeral. It'd be nice if some of y'all come to this funeral, what we trying to help her plan, to let these kids know, which was over 100 and some kids out there standing there looking lost. But I told them if they were down here with us right now, they can make change, but they don't know that yet. But I'm going to keep talking to them until they know. If they come down here, I bet you'll hear me those are the next steps. So I just thank y'all, and I want y'all to keep that on your 16 years old, dead, no matter what, he's dead.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. Thank you. And if you can please send us an email with information regarding the services, that would be great. Thank you. Our next speaker is Lisa Clemens.
So I just came to say I support the biannual budget. I do agree with everything that's been said here, and I do want to thank you, Parmesano, for even bringing this forward. We do need to get the work done in the communities, whether it's us as outreach or community neighborhoods or associations that's doing the work, but also for you guys. I know it's got to be trauma for you and your staff surrounding having to constantly work on a budget instead of having time to actually implement things and make things happen in the city. So on behalf of A Mother's Love and the community and even the police department, I hope that this passes.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who is wanting to speak to this item? Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, I will close this public hearing. And with that, I move to approve item number 1. Is there any discussion? Council President Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be supporting moving this forward to council, but I did just want to re-highlight a couple of things I've been speaking about since we started this discussion, and some of which were highlighted during the testimony that we've heard so far. The first is the critical need, I think, to make sure that if we change to a 2-year budget process, that we do not lose the momentum of public engagement that we have seen in recent years around our budget. It's actually one of the times that I think folks most often come here to City Hall. I know we do engagement in all kinds of different ways in the community as well, but I think that will be critically important for us to think about from the beginning and incorporate from the beginning in a meaningful way, so that we're not using it as an afterthought, so that we're not, talking about participatory budgeting, but continuing, which we have been doing for a number of years now, and really starting to make those commitments and changes along with the biennial budget implementation. And then the second piece is that I do think, especially early on, maintaining the opportunity to have annual adjustments for our budget is also important for the council, and a priority that I would have as well. And then I just wanted to say as well, this is a charter change, which requires a unanimous vote of the city council or can be approved on the ballot. Those are the two methods of amending our charter in Minneapolis. If it doesn't pass unanimously, I do think all of the engagement that has been led by Councilmember Palmisano and staff, I think can still be incorporated into a different strategy of changing to a 2-year budget. So I think it's been an important conversation. And I actually think there may be some there are pros and cons to amending the charter versus implementing this as a practice now. And I think there are some potential positives of implementing it as a practice at the beginning. So I think regardless of what happens for the charter amendment vote, I think this work has been really important and started a good discussion in our city about how we can improve the transparency of our budget process. And I want to thank Councilmember Palmisano for all her work and her work as our budget chair, already making some changes even last year in improving and increasing public participation. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Are there other comments? I would speak to this item myself, and I will be supporting this item. I think it really provides us an opportunity, as we've heard today and yesterday, to engage the public in real meaningful ways through participatory budgeting. It really is incumbent upon us, as Council President stated, to ensure that we are reaching out to community and engaging them to continue to be a part of this process. If we do move from this annual budgeting process, which has been really bringing a lot of the public into this space and into the conversation of how we manage the resources of the city. And so I don't want to lose that momentum either. But I think the commitment of this council and Councilmember Palmisano, commitment to community engagement is evident, and we can continue to manifest that momentum. And so with that being said, I would ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that item carries. And seeing no further business before us, this meeting is adjourned.